Yay! Trying to get this to work. Oh, here we go. It looks like it's working now. So, Tansei, Oki, bonjour everybody. How's everybody doing today? I hope you are well, and I hope, you're enjoying the tail end of the summer before the kids go back to school. I know the kids are going back to school next week for me, so I'm a little bit of a happy dance, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, summer's over. But I'm just really thankful and humbled that we had as many opportunities as we did over the summer to kind of spend time, a little bit in nature, a little bit with each other, within community. I think that was really, really wonderful. But of course, before I start any of my live streams, I always acknowledge the fact that I am in Mohkinstsis. I am in Treaty 7 territory. Calgary is the traditional homeland of the Blackfoot, of Siksika, Kainai, and Pagani. It is also part of the traditional territory of the Tsuut'ina from, they're Sarcindene, and also the Stoney Nakoda from Morley, which includes Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. I always state those, even though some people have watched the live stream many, many times. I think it's really important to just acknowledge that this is where I am. Sometimes I'm not here, so but this has been my home for many generations, or well, as I've brought generations into this world, and so I'm really just thankful to be here. I'm thankful to my elders who have guided me in a good way, from all of those different nations, but also I'm very thankful to the community members and knowledge keepers and the people who guide me and keep me humble. I think I'm just really thankful every time I am here, every time I occupy a space and I see that that thread of community and that sense of connection that I think we need. And so just to welcome everyone into the circle today, I wanted to share with you the Cree Welcome Song. Traditionally, when we sing songs and stories, we sing in rounds of 4, down to the 4 directions of the medicine wheel. But this song is a little bit different. We actually sing it in rounds of 3, and that's to keep the circle open and welcoming so everyone completes the circle today. Because in a circle, we're all connected. There's no beginning, there's no end, no one is greater or less than anyone else in the circle, just like in the hoop of life. And I think it's really important to recognize that. I think a lot of the time on social media, there's a lot of divisions, and I think those are diversions. They keep us out of recognizing the fact that the world is broken and the system is broken. But if we can put those divisions aside and we can actually come together and find that common ground, that compromise, that's truly when our community can build and become resilient. And so I honor all of those teachings that connect us to the land, and I honor the Nataha family for keeping this song and this story alive, because again, for so many generations, we weren't able to speak our languages, to share our stories, to share our songs, to even make drums. And I don't know about you, but drums are such a huge, huge part of my life. My heart is in every single drum that I carry, and it has a story. And all of the drums that I've made with other people, I remember those stories too. They're like my babies, my children. And to think of a world where we wouldn't be able to do that, where we wouldn't be able to, share those things that just come through us, that come naturally to us. To be able to create in a meaningful way, it's just, I couldn't imagine. It would be just devastating. And so I'm very thankful and humbled to live in the time that we live now. And so whenever I share that song, I'm really cognizant of that history and how it's still here, and we are still here, and we're still alive, and we're thriving. There's a long way and a lot of healing that we need to do, and we need to come together, and that essentially comes through truth. But to think of where we are now, even versus 20 years ago, it's night and day. And so I think if we continue on that path and really continue to put pressure on all of those systems that are in place that are broken, eventually we will work together to heal them. But we gotta keep working. We just don't stop because we get a little bit of progress. We gotta keep going. And so Miyasin reminds me of that. And it doesn't just mean welcome, it also means beautiful. Miyasin, miyasen, hasemina, hasemina, kote niwa gomagan hota homa kitaskino miasen miasen hasemina hasemina epetakote niwa gomagan hota homa kitaskino miasen miasen hasemina hasemina epetakote niwa gomagan hota homa kitaskino. Hi, and welcome to the circle today, everybody. So I've just realized I don't have matches. So I don't know if I can do a smudge today, but that's okay, because that'll give me the opportunity to teach about if you don't have matches, or if you're in a facility that does not allow smoke, you can still smudge. It's called a dry smudge. And what it is, it's just setting that intention. And even though your medicines are there, so I'm going to continue to make a smudge ball. So of course I've got my lovely handy dandy fabulous sage that I picked. I need to pick a date actually, so we can go sage picking. Last year we did two-spirit sage picking, so I shared some two-spirit teachings about gathering medicines. And it was just really, really lovely, and I'm hoping to do that again this year, because I think it's important. Also, I ran out of sage so quickly last year that I definitely need to go a few times before the season's done. And so here we are. I'm just gathering my sage here. I do have all of my medicines spread out, not spread out, but in the different directions, in accordance with my teachings. But then again, I mean, your teachings might be a little bit different, so that's okay. Again, it's not right or wrong, it's just different, and that's fine, because it's really about finding what you need. And so, if you're doing a dry smudge, you'll prepare your smudge just like you normally would, and you'll put your medicines here in the bowl. So, here we go. I'm going to put that in the bowl. I've got some leftover stuff in there too, so I'm going to put that down. And then instead of lighting it, of course, because you might be in a facility where you're not allowed to light it, or for example, if you're, like, let's say in the hospital and there's oxygen, of course they're not going to let you light a smudge. But what you can do instead is you can do a dry smudge, and so you would have it, and then you would just ask Creator for what you need, and then you would go about smudging like you normally would, but just envisioning that smoke is there, and that spirit and that energy is there. And so I would smudge my hands first to get rid of anything that I might be carrying. And again, everybody smudges in a different way, so it's not right or wrong, it's just what feels good to you. It's asking for the things that you need and letting go of the things that you don't need. It's asking for the healing that you need, for the grounding, to be centered, because it's a personal experience, and that's what it needs to be. So if somebody's saying you're smudging the wrong way, then they're judging you, so that's coming from judgment, and that's no good for anybody, because how are we supposed to heal, and how are we supposed to learn if we feel judged? And so it's really just, this is your journey to take, and nobody can tell you how to take your journey. You have to take those steps yourself. It's like when we're teaching a baby how to walk. We don't try and, like, do the foot in front of the other constantly, or else that baby will never learn how to walk. And so you let it stumble, you let it fall until it finds its stride, and then you can't stop them. I know I'm a mom. You never stop those children from walking and getting into trouble. So you can just be there to catch them when they fall, but with gentle guidance. So same analogy. But okay, I'm gonna smudge my hands so that anything I'm carrying I get rid of. I bring it over my body 4 times to honor the 4 directions in my body. I smudge my mind so I can think clearly and learn from every person that crosses my path. I smudge my ears so I can be open to hear all of the messages that Creator sends me. To remind myself that I was 2 ears and 1 mouth, so I can listen twice as much as I speak. But also to remember to truly listen, because I think sometimes we hear what we want to hear, and that might not be the truth. So it's really about listening to what people are saying and not trying to read behind the lines, but actually just listening. Active listening, that's an important thing. I'm going to smudge my eyes so I can see clearly and learn from every person that crosses my path. So my vision can be clear. I'm very thankful for my vision this lifetime, but also to remind myself to see those things that are not seen. The unseen sometimes have greater power than the things that are seen. I'm going to smudge my nose. I'm very thankful for my sense this lifetime, so I can smell danger and nature, and of course cookies, because who doesn't love to smell cookies? And fresh baked bread. My son baked bread the other day. It was amazing. I'm going to smudge my mouth so I can speak only true and kind words that are helpful and benefit mankind. I always ask myself, is it truthful? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Is it respectful? If it's none of those things, don't say it, don't do it. And there's been times when I wanted to warn someone about an experience that I've had with another person, but I recognize that that would be me kind of imposing that experience on someone else. And so I allow people to learn for themselves and experience that person for themselves. And so, because you don't want to perpetuate lateral violence by saying, well, this person did this to me. And so that's a reminder to really watch my words and to be very aware. Smudge my throat, because I'm very thankful for my voice this lifetime, so I can continue to give voice to the voiceless. Also, Creator gave me this voice. My mush and my great-grandfather said, Creator gave you a loud voice, you have to use it. And this was when I was quite young. And so he named me She Who Sings and Dances with Spirits in a Storm. And it makes sense. I feel like I'm always that buffalo riding through the storm. So hi for my voice. I'm going to smudge my lungs so I breathe good, clean air, to remind us of the sacred breath that we all share and what a gift it is to have the air surrounding us. We are breathing the same air as our ancestors. We're breathing the same air as ancient trees, as ancient plants, as ancient animals. And it's very humbling to think that our great, future generations will be breathing that same air. And so we must maintain it for them. I smudge my heart so I remain kind and compassionate and show unconditional love to all those that cross my path, to my family, my friends, acquaintances, to all of our relations around the world, but also with ourselves, because sometimes we forget to give ourselves that love. I'm going to smudge my stomach, so all the food that I eat this day will nourish my body. I'm going to smudge my womanhood, because I'm very thankful to be a woman and a mother in this time. I'm also a two-spirit woman, so I'm very thankful that I embody both that masculine and feminine energy, both in my day-to-day life, but also within my teachings, within the ceremonies that I share. I'm going to smudge my belly button, because that's where our spirit is. That's where we're connected before we come into this world. And so this is where our spirit connects with us and talks to us. And this is where our intuition, our internal Thunderbird comes from, and it is never wrong. But it's also how our ancestors speak through us. I'm going to smudge my shoulders and my back so I can carry all of the responsibilities that Creator has gifted me with grace and humility. I'm going to smudge my arms and my hands so I can do the good work that Creator has put me here to do. I'm going to smudge my legs. So I walk this red road in a good way. The red road is the path of Aboriginal spirituality. I'm going to smudge my feet so I stay grounded and connected to Mother Earth, treading lightly upon her and honoring her with every step. And then if there's anywhere else in your body that you need a little extra love, so the last few days, as much as I love the rain and I love the storms, and I love just how it nurtures and nourishes the earth, my hips don't love it. So I'm going to smudge my hips a whole bunch because they are definitely hurting. And also my knee, as I get older, my knees and my hips are starting to hurt. So, well, I also had 4 hip surgeries, so that's probably part of it. And then if there's anywhere else that you want a little extra love, you can just smudge. And then anyone that you want to send that little extra love and appreciation to, whether it be, you know, your family, your friends, someone who's been on your mind and you know they're going through a hard time, you smudge for them and you send that gentleness and that healing to them. And there's quite a few people in the community that are hurting right now, so I'm sending all of that love to them. And then when you're done, you say magwitch or hi or merci or grazie or shea or however you say thank you in your language. Now, you might notice I have little northern lights behind me. Yay, Zoom filters. It's just because I'm still in the process of moving in and I got busy and I haven't really set up my office yet, but slowly but surely, yay. You know, you gotta be human, you gotta be humble. So I actually wanted to share a song. This song I wrote, whoops, and I also want to share my drum. So this drum is a buffalo drum. Literally, it's made of buffalo. I find it funny when people call like all buffalo or all hand drums buffalo drums, because I'm like, but they're not all buffalo. And so, yes, this is a lovely hand drum. It's got beautiful back. But what's really interesting about it, so it has a really interesting story. Not sure if you can see that, but this is burned. So when I was out in Siksika, and we spent probably about 4 days out there, we were working with a program, and even though the program ended badly, the people and the connections that we made were brilliant, and what we created was incredible. It really was about truth and reconciliation because it was so many different people from so many different places and nations coming together in a good way. And so this drum kind of reminds me of that experience, and so even though it has that little bit of damage, oops, wherever that may be, even though it's slightly damaged, which kind of, from the outside perspective, it does ruin it, but the sound and the intention behind it is still beautiful. And so I haven't been able to bring myself to repair it yet, but as soon as it starts to go over the skin, then I'll repair it. But in the meantime, I'm just going to leave it at it. And so the song that I wanted to share with you is a song that I wrote for another program, and it's funny, I haven't really been brave enough to share it, and I was actually brave enough to share it over the weekend, and so this is a song that I wrote for my girls. And so a little bit of a background about it. There was a program called Asynicics, which was, it means those who write or those who record, but it was an artist series where artists would work with elders and community members, and it started as a dinner series. But of course, when COVID happened, we had like our second dinner, and then of course everything shut down, and so it kind of got elongated and it changed, but when we were sat at different tables, the themes were kinship, and I was given, I think we started in November of 2019, and I was given the table daughter. And I wasn't quite sure. I was like, okay, daughter, well, I'm a daughter. And so there's that. And then throughout everything that kind of happened, I ended up adopting 2 girls right before the pandemic happened. And of course, the pandemic happened. But when they moved in, I I realized, hey, I now have daughters. So that made so much sense to me that I was put at that table. It was meant to be, even though it was like months before I knew anything was happening, months before I had even, you know, thought or considered, or I had been considered for them moving in with me. But you know, I always say everything happens for a reason, and I've always known in my heart that I was going to have twins. I just didn't know how they were going to come to me. And so, of course, for the Asynagic series, it made sense that I would write a song for them and for all of our daughters. And so this song, I'll kind of break it down a little bit. Kakione Wakimakanuk means it's like all my relations, but it's more than that. It's like we need to take care of each other. We need to take care of all of our relations because we depend on each other and we are part of each other. So it's much, much bigger than all my relations. Sakihitoin means I love you. Otanasao means our daughter, or wait, Otanasao means her daughter. Gitanis means, oh wait, Otanasao, oh my gosh, I haven't done this in a while. I'm still learning Cree. I've got broken Cree, but I'm working on it, and I think that's important to actually make the effort and try. Otanasao means our daughters. Gitanis means her daughters. Nitanis means our daughters. And Tanisanao means all of our daughters. And so, yeah, this is the daughter song. Oops. And I haven't played this drum in a really long time, so it's kind of nice. Kakione wakimakanuk sakihitoin sakihitoin otanisu sakihitoin weyo heyo So yeah, that was the song for my daughters. And so I think to keep that up, I know I shared this song last week, but it's really been on my heart and on my mind lately. So this is the mother song. And I always say whatever's meant to be shared will is shared. And so this song, I learned it from my good friend Lacey, who is up in Saint Marie. And whenever I sing it, I'm reminded of you know, the humility it takes to be a mom, but also the strength and the perseverance and the patience it takes to be a mom, or a parent in general, or someone who has to take on that role from someone else, because whether they be missing, whether they don't have the ability to do so, or just change of circumstance, sometimes it's difficult. And so when I sing this song, I think of all of our, you know, past generations who didn't have that luxury because of residential schools. You know, we were ripped essentially away from our parents. We were ripped from that traditional way of life. We were told that, you know, our child rearing practices were incorrect or wrong, that we were wrong. And so when I sing this, it's really about reclaiming that space as mothers and grandmothers, as aunties, as parents, as those people who take on those roles of child rearing, and really honor the voices. And with myself, I was able to break that cycle of intergenerational trauma with my own kids, through traditional teachings, through traditional songs and medicines and stories, but also recognizing that that abuse, it didn't have anything to do with our culture. It had everything to do with something that was imposed and thrust upon us. When you take kids away from their parents and don't give them the ability to learn how to parent, how to learn unconditional love, you cause this rift and this ripple effect throughout generations. And so now we're finally starting to come back to that place, that island that we started from, with traditional teachings and ways of knowing and connection to Mother Earth and to each other, to be able to break those cycles and break those patterns. But of course, it takes a lot of work, and it's not something that comes easily or should be taken lightly. And so it's a gift to be able to be where I am now, and to be able to support people in the community who are transitioning to the same way. But this honors, you know, the mothers and the daughters and the aunties and the cousins and all of the child bearers and nurturers throughout history and those future generations yet to be born who will be, of course, raising those next generations. And so, yeah, this is the mother song. And also honors the survivors of the 60s scoop and residential school 2.0, which is the foster care system. Awesome, so I'm gonna have a sip of water. And I wanted to sing the rain song. Oh, sorry, not the rain song. Not the rain song. My auntie would get mad at me. The water song. And so the water song teaches us how to really appreciate and be mindful and be thankful for the water that we share because, you know, we need it to survive. If you don't have water after 3 days, you will die. So we need that water. And so it really teaches us to be mindful, to appreciate it, to be thankful every time we take water. You know, say thank you. Live in gratitude. No matter what you take from the earth, always give something back, or and say thank you. And so I think sometimes with our modern technologies and our conveniences, we forget about being thankful and living in gratitude. And so this song is that reminder to say thank you to the rain, to say thank you to the river, to say thank you to the ocean, to say thank you to even the water that's coming out of our tap, because it comes from somewhere, and to really be mindful of that. And so this song I've known for a really long time, and I believe the Odomenque singers have it on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can go check out Odomenque singers. I don't know how to spell that. Good luck with that. I think it's OdiminkwE, but don't quote me on that. But this is the water song, and when I learned it as the rain song, because of course with my name, I always hear storms, I always hear the rain coming down, and then the thunder and the lightning of the storm. My one cousin, who spends a lot of time on the river, she's like, no, this is the river song, because she could hear the river flowing, and then some rapids, and then a huge waterfall. And my other cousin, of course, who lives in BC, was like, no, it's the ocean song. You can hear the ocean rocking back and forth and back and forth, and then the waves crashing. And so we were arguing at a family reunion, because that's usually what we do. And it's just, it's how cousins roll. Duh, we love each other when we argue. But my auntie came up behind us because we were all arguing. She's like, what's wrong with you girls? It's the water song. So we were all right, and we were told. And so this is the water song. And yeah, usually I teach it, but it's really about honoring, the journey with water, also honoring our emotions, because our emotions are liquid, to remind us that ebb and flow is important, because if we were all one even keel all the time, we wouldn't appreciate those really beautiful moments if we'd never experienced those really crummy moments. And so yeah, this is the water song, and in it we start slow and we go quicker and quicker and quicker, like the water, and then we finally dive down at the end. Get it? Okay. Wishita do ya, wishita do ya day. 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 Wishatneya, hey ya, hey ya. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey ya. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey ya. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey ya. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey. Wishita do ya, wishita do ya day. 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 Wishatneya, hey ya, hey ya. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey ya. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey ya. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey ya. Wishatneya, hey ya, hey. Wishita do ya, wishita do ya day. Wishita do ya, wishita do ya day. Wishita do ya, wishita do ya day. Wishita do ya, Ishita Duya Duya Day. Awesome. So I'm gonna actually talk about different dates that are coming up. So one date that was really important just passed, and now there's been an awesome decision. So in Brazil, the rights of Indigenous people were basically up for legislation. They were going to legislate away the rights of Indigenous people, a la the Indian Act. But they basically, one of the nations went to the Supreme Court and was like, this is not okay, this is unacceptable, and so basically challenged it. And there's a landmark ruling that said, yes, no, it was not acceptable to legislate away Indigenous rights. And so that was great, but of course the government is trying to challenge that ruling, and so it's really important that we continue to support our brothers and sisters in Brazil and our family in Brazil, because this is going to affect us. If they are able to legislate away Indigenous rights in Brazil, they're going to do it around the world. And so this is why it's really, really important. In the links below, hashtag HoHo movement, HAUX movement. Please do share on social media. There is news about that landmark case, but there's also the website that you can go to and get more information on how you can support Indigenous people in Brazil, and basically be a land defender, which is so, so important, because we are the last line of defense for Mother Earth, all Indigenous people across the globe, because of course all of the governments are trying to get us out of the way so that they can just mine and do horrible things to Mother Earth, and that's not okay. That's unacceptable to me. Also, other important dates that are coming up is September 30th is Orange Shirt Day. It's the date for Truth and Reconciliation. So this is where we memorialize the residential school survivors, those kids that didn't come home, and also the intergenerational trauma effects. I think that everybody's been feeling. I know it's definitely front of mind, just with all of the horrible discoveries that have been made across Canada over the summer. It's just really gruesome and grisly to think of what's happened to Indigenous people across Turtle Island, not just here in Canada, but also in the States and all over the world, really. But it's just been front and center and really in your face with the news that's coming out with those ground penetrating radars that are discovering more and more remains, and it's just heartbreaking. And so it's more important than ever to really step up and advocate for those communities whose voices need to be heard. And so I have a link in there for if you're in Mohkinstsis and you want to participate in a march. We have Pokeks, which means the children, in Blackfoot. We do that march every year, and it's just a beautiful way to express your support and learn stories and hear beautiful elders speak, and of course just march, because it's important to get out there and like physically show your support. It's great to do it from an armchair, like an armchair activist, but when you're physically there, the people who are doing the work on the ground, they feel like, hey, I'm not alone in this. It's great. Another event that's coming up the following week is Sisters in Spirit. Sisters in Spirit is an annual march that we do across Canada. And it's to honor our murdered and missing Indigenous women, girls, Two-Spirit people, and also men, to really bring attention to the inequality, but also the just mind-blowing statistics of what's happening to our Indigenous women. I know that I march every single year, and I help coordinate every single year, and of course I bring my drums and my voice, because it's important to raise those voices. If something happened to myself or my girls, I would want answers, I would want justice, and I would want truth to come out. And so this is why I continue to march for all of our sisters, all of our families, and to show support for those families that have had this devastating loss. When we lose a woman in our community, we lose so much, and so this is why it's important to physically be there. And so yeah, that is on October 4th. We start that usually at about 11 o'clock. We start the march, but I will post that link once I have it, and any other links that I have or that you would recommend, I can definitely post in the links, because I think it's important to share that information and to share, you know, what needs to be done. We have to put pressure on the establishment to be able to change those things, and by showing up to these events and learning, I think truly that's where that community building comes into place, and those relationships come into place. Oh, my cats are fighting. That was really weird. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to sing a song. I'm going to sing a song. This is a community song. This is the bear song. And I sing this for our brothers and sisters, those warriors in Brazil, because the bear represents courage, it represents strength, but it's the strength to stand up for what's right and that courage to be yourself. And it takes so much courage to be on the front lines in fighting these incredibly monumental fights across the globe. And so I sing it to all of our brothers and sisters who are challenging those norms and striving for justice. I also sing it for children because this song, it reminds us of community and how deeply connected we are in community. And the bear has taught us so much. And I think as children, we learn from our parents. And I think in some ways, we learn from the bear in the same way that we learn from our parents. And so it's really about being humble and learning. And so this is the Anishinaabe Bear song. This also used to be my son's favorite song when he was really little. And now it's the Raven song, but it used to be his favorite when he was little. This is the bear song, Anishinaabe. I just realized that all you can see is my lovely, warm, cozy sweater. But I'm actually wearing one of my old ribbon skirts. This was actually the first one that I made. I'm going to show it off. Woo! This is my first ribbon skirt I ever made. Of course, I can't step back, but it's got a little bit of a rainbow on the bottom. And it reminds me that I'm not perfect. It's a little tight, so it's definitely a lot tighter since COVID. So, but also it was just like straight when I made it. But even though I laugh about it, I'm still really thankful because it was the first one I made, and I'm still able to wear it in a good way and represent, you know, the teachings behind it. And so, yeah, I'm very humbled every time we wear a ribbon skirt because it's the way that we connect to the earth. It's the teachings of, you know, it's my story. You know, it's not only my teachings, it's my family, it's my ancestors, it's the way that I represent the world. It's a piece of me that I can showcase on the outside. And so I have many skirts that I have made, and each and every one of them have those teachings behind them. Where some of them have different colors, they all have a specific strand of whether it be blue or whether it be red or purple, to represent my boys and my girls. And so I'm very, very humbled to be able to wear those. And I just realized, I was like, nobody's seen my ribbon skirt today. And just to recognize that I am wearing that as an aspect of who I am. And I find that when I'm wearing my ribbon skirt, it connects me deeply, not only to the earth and my ancestors, but to what I need to share through creator or spirit or whatever you believe. But I feel like it works through me in a greater capacity when I'm wearing my skirt. And so, that being said, I want to share the Strong Woman song. We have been talking a lot about Sisters in Spirit and that event that we do every year, but there are a solid core group of strong women that really put it together, and it's really about honoring, you know, our path. It's about honoring our mothers and our grandmothers and our beautiful Mother Earth that has led us here, and that supports us no matter what. And so when we sing the Strong Woman song, it's really about that connection and honoring those strong women in our lives, honoring the strong men who are able to stand beside them, because there's not a lot of strong men who can handle strong women. Trust me, this is why I'm single. But actually, I don't think there's other strong women that can handle me either. Oh, maybe there's something wrong with me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just too busy to maintain a relationship. I think that's my problem. But it's a good busy. It's a good busy. But this song, it also used to be called the Turtle Song, because it honors, you know, the teachings of the turtle, which is, if we look at a turtle's back, it has the 13 bumps to represent the 13 moons in a year, and they have the 28 ridges along the outside to represent the 28 days within a moon cycle, which is within our cycle as women. It also teaches us to really connect deeply to Mother Earth. This is why Mother Earth is Turtle Island. She's constantly spinning to keep that time and that pulse and that rhythm. So when we sing this song, I do it with the heartbeat, because that's that women's beat, that's that honor beat, that's that healing beat that connects us all through ceremony. When I sing it as well, I do it a little bit different, where we start low and then we get a little bit higher. And to me, every time we kind of go up a little bit, it's like rising above all of those conflicts, rising above all of those challenges, rising above like any of those you know, things that have been imposed on us, and really coming into a place of healing through connection to this song, through connection to the drum, through connection to each other. Because when women are strong, when we're singing together and we're drumming together, when we're in ceremony together, there's nothing we can't do. We're incredible when we're together, and so we should just start honoring each other's path and just honor that and just rock it. So, and I really am feeling that every single time I have a meeting with these wonderful women that we've been, you know, putting this event on for, you know, well over a decade, and it's such a gift to be able to do it. And so this is the Strong Woman song. Oh, I need to have a sip of water before we go. There was a chunk of ice in that water, and it hurt my throat. Hey ya, hey ya, hey yo, hey ya, hey ya, hey yo. Hey ya, hey hi yo, hey ya, ho hey ya, hey ya, hey hi yo, hey ya, hey ya, hey hi yo, hey ya, certain songs that I always have to call out to the ancestors at the end, and that's one of those songs. And so before I head off on my journey, I just wanted to wish everybody a good week ahead. And yes, please do, if you feel like sharing this, everybody is welcome. That's the beauty of these teachings. They're all oral traditions and oral storytelling, because whatever's meant for us we'll remember, and whatever's not, that's okay. It won't take up space in our brain. But it's really about, sharing these messages of connection, of, reclaiming of the teachings of Indigenous people and how valuable they are. Because we learn so much from each other. We learn so much from our stories and our songs and that wisdom of the land, and it's really about deeply connecting with each other and the land on our path, and with so much gratitude and respect. And so this last song is called The Traveling Song, because it shows us no matter where we travel, there's so many lessons for us. But home is where we make it. Our heart is where we make it. And the journey is important. It's not really the destination, because it's that journey that has gotten us to that place. And I think it's setting those goals and recognizing those things, but also recognizing those connections and those people that we've met along our path. I think within colonial structures, we have a very linear way of thinking, and I think we forget that everything is a circle. Everything in nature is a circle. Our journey is a constant circle. It's not, birth to death. It's so much more than that. You think of how many circles that you keep, how many connections that we have within a community, how many cycles of life that we've gone through. The seasons are cycles of life. The days are cycles of life. I think it's such a beautiful and humbling path to be on. And that's truly what this song honors. It teaches us about connecting and recognizing that we have been on the same path as our ancestors, and that our future generations will be on. So it's about really stepping lightly on the earth, but connecting to each other at the same time, and creating those communities and those families wherever we may be and wherever we may go. And it's recognizing where we have been so that we don't make the same mistakes to get back there. And so this is the traveling song to welcome everybody, or sorry, to send everybody on their way. And I hope you have a beautiful week. This is the traveling song, which I learned from my elder Sharon Poo Turner, and was reshared with me, which came home through my friend Yolanda and my friend Ashley. So I'm very humbled for this song. Hi, hi. Hey ah hey ah hey yo, 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 hey ah hey ah hey yo. Hey ah hey ah hey yo, 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 hey ah hey ah hey yo. Hey ah hey ah hey yo, 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 hey ah hey ah hey yo. Hey ah hey ah hey yo, 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 hey ah oh. Hi again. Thank you everyone for joining me for another fabulous Tuesday. Again, I changed the time of the Tuesday teachings. I used to start at 6:30, but I felt very rushed. With the kids going back to school, I'm going to feel even more rushed. So I have adjusted and changed the date, or the time, sorry. So it's still Tuesdays, but every Tuesday from 7 until 8 instead of from 6:30 until 7:30. So still the full hour. Yeah, looking forward to it. And if you don't make a week, don't worry. I won't know the difference, but I think it's important just to share and for the teachings to be there whenever you need them. So hi again, everyone. Magwitch, thank you so much for joining me. And again, my name is Chantel. And yeah, shout out to my res, Muskeg Lake. I know we're going through a lot right now, and so I just wanted to send love and healing to everyone. We've just lost an auntie. My auntie Irene has passed, so yeah, I was thinking about that actually as I was singing the traveling song to remind me that, you know, she's still there, she's still with us on that path, and so not to be sad but be thankful for the life she lived. And so hi everyone, again, Magwitch, and thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week.